time for another edition of the Daily Racing Form, a weekend preview. I'm Gino Bacola alongside my good friend Scott Shapiro with producer Lucia helping us out this week. Scotty, we got a couple of graded stakes races at Keeneland to preview. Then we'll head over to Santa Anita, take a look at the lure over there and give our thoughts on that one. Before we get into all the previews of this weekend's big stakes races, we want to let you know about the Daily Racing Form Bet on Sports section, where you can claim up to $5,000 in sportsbook offers. What's really great about this, Scott, is it gives you a lot of the different sports books. It gives you reviews for them, offers that you can claim if you want to sign up for them. And I think this is one of the best times to be a sports fan right now, right? Where you've got college football and NFL going. Basketball is just starting up, and we're in the middle of the baseball playoffs, getting close to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I mean, football every single day, I think, up until Thanksgiving or longer. So certainly that, and with the Breeders' Cup, you've got really everything that we like, Gino, right now. So we've got a little while to talk about it, at least in terms of this Saturday.
So just go to DRF.com, and if you see up on the right section that football icon, click on that. It'll take you right to the Bet on Sports section. Let's head on over to Keeneland. We're going to preview two races at Keeneland. Race 9 is the Lexus Raven Run. Then we'll go back and hit the 6th race, which is the Perryville. It's an interesting race here, Scott. We have 3-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs here. I think there's one or two that you can look at. They have the reputation. A horse like Ragtime has been really, really solid. It's just tough to knock overall. You can make a lot of cases for horses in here. You have some coming off long layoffs, some who were good earlier in the year and we haven't seen for a while. Let's start things out with Delightful Claire. I mean, she's one of the ones in here. She has a really big win when she broke her maiden. Her other 3 races haven't been bad. She hasn't been able to get back to that brilliance that she showed in the maiden win. But when you know she has that as a ceiling, that she can get to that, she's certainly a talented filly, and she might fall through the cracks a little bit here based on this big field and a lot of different options.
Yeah, down on the inside will be the tricky part, but she's got talent. She's been bet heavily along the way, all of her starts, and she ran better than looks last time, finishing 3rd to Ragtime. As you mentioned, Ragtime, the favorite in here. She was the one involved early while the first 2 finishers took advantage of a somewhat contentious pace.
One of my only concerns would be she hasn't always been quick right out of the gate. And if she, she's like a stumble or maybe a step slow, if that happens and you're down on the inside and she gets shuffled behind horses, might not be the easiest trip. Scott, you look at Vixen and who she was facing on the turf just a couple months ago, and those races look even stronger now after a little bit of time. She's behind Nitrogen. She's in front of Grade 1 winner Fion, and she's right behind Grade 1 winner Lush Lips, who I think you liked when we previewed that QE2 race. So, I mean, she's been facing really tough company on the turf. We just don't know if that'll translate over to the dirt.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an odd spot. There's plenty of turf races. I guess just taking a chance, obviously getting black type in a Grade 2 dirt race would do a lot for her. Feels a little stabby to me, but you're going to get the right price.
Grade 3 place, Strong State adds the blinkers. This filly was behind Ragtime, and she finished right in front of Delightful Claire in that dogwood. She's not done a whole lot wrong in her career, Scott, but she will face a pretty tough group in here.
She's very good, actually, I think, in a live shot in here. I would like her a little more, though. For some reason, Alstall's putting the blinkers back on. I mean, I guess he's wanting to get more speed out of her, thinking horses are getting the jump on her. But she's got a lot of talent and can finish. So maybe if the equipment change works, it'll really propel her.
We move to Volleyball Princess. She just feels a little bit overmatched. She had a big win back in February when she won the Ruthless, but she just hasn't really progressed since then.
Yeah, both of her wins came against softer competition. One is a long shot at Parks on debut, and then besting a field really easy in the Ruthless. Hasn't gotten back to that. I think she's up against it.
I want to give some credit to trainer Aggie Ordonez. She has done a fantastic job with the Calbred Almond Joy. Scott, this gal has won 5 races in a row. She stepped up and she beat Open Company, but she will now be facing just a tougher group than she's faced before. She's going to have to get a little faster on speed figures, but at any level, it is not easy to win 5 straight races.
Cool horse. One of the races or 2 of the races at 2 turns. You see her there getting the job done at 4-1 in the Torrey Pines against Open Company. Very nice horse. Strong trainer, going to be a big price, but this is a lot to ask.
Maybe an underneath type. Reputation did face older last time out, lost to a horse named Hall and Ice, who was able to just get the lead and cruise in there. What do you do with Reputation now, getting back with 3-year-olds? You see some same common rivals with her and Maida, that same one, GW's Girl, who she beat a couple starts back.
Yeah, she's likely to take money, maybe more than she should because of the My Racehorse angle. You see how much money she takes almost every start, other than the one at Churchill Downs. I think she's up against it because I'm just not sure what trip works best for her, and she has another one that doesn't get out of the gate all that well.
I agree. I think I wanted to like her a little bit, but I just can't really project it in my head where she's going to be in the race. Maida kind of had a stuttering start, but she still was able to get the lead. She still was able to open up two, Scott. She cruised there. All three races on the fast track are victories. Her only defeat came in her career debut, and that was on a wet track. Her dam was pretty solid too, kind of sneaky. She was 6 for 11. She was a grade 3 winner who ended up earning a 99 Beyer speed figure 2 different times when she was racing. This is a quick filly, but man, she's gonna have to go a little bit longer. And in a big field like this will be a lot to ask of her.
Yeah, big step up in class as we saw her there, dominating a field in the weather vane. And yes, that's a $100,000 race. But if you just look at the Beyer speed figures from the horses she's been competing against to now, big class test, has to answer the 7 furlong question. And Brittany Russell, as high percentage as she is, just 1 for 18 at Keeneland over the last 5 years.
We move to Usha. She began her career in the Bob Baffert barn. And her first 3 starts, Scott, they weren't bad. She just ran into other horses, like a couple Baffert horses at the time that were a little further along than her and maybe a little better than her. She took some time off from October of 2024 to July of this year. And she shows back up in July. She wins by 11. And then in her second start back, she won. She actually went right to the lead that time. And she wins again pretty impressively by 5 lengths here. Both of those races, horses that she beat came back to win their next starts. So she's been beating horses that are in good form and productive right now. She's kind of a wild card in here to me. I really didn't know what to do with her because I think she certainly has talent, but this will be a big step up.
Yeah, and she has to run without Lasix. She's really moved forward. You have to wonder if the New York bred is just, anti-bleeding medication has made that much of a difference, or if she just figured things out. She is going to get a really good trip in here outside the other speeds.
Ragtime deserved tons of respect. She loves 7 furlong. She's a grade 1. She's grade 1 placed, and she just hasn't done anything wrong. Her 4 starts, she's only lost once, and she was defeated by a neck that day. Most recently, it wasn't even like things went perfect for her when you watched her at Churchill Downs. Here she is a couple starts back when she was second in the test, but she's just a nice filly, Scott. I think she's like a measuring stick for this level, for this race, and I figure she's going to run really well. She might not be the horse to bet, though, at a shortish price.
That's it. I mean, everybody can see she's serious. She can finish with serious energy. She's almost undefeated, but she doesn't get out of the gate well, so she's going to have to work out a trip in a big field where she's not to the outside. So I don't know. We'll see. She's got a lot of talent, but I'm not going to bet on her.
Not any of the 3 outside horses you can make little cases for. I mean, Simply Joking was a horse who won her first 2 starts. She's in the fantasy, the grade 2 fantasy. She runs right behind Quiet Side, and you might look at her races and think that maybe a mile and a little beyond a mile was stretching it for her. She could be perfect at this 7 furlong distance. She's actually been working really well in the morning with multiple graded stakes winner Liguria. What do we do with this gal coming into the Michael McCarthy barn?
Yeah, I'm not sure if sprinting is just a starting point or not, but this is a big ask for her. One of the 2 fillies in a row we're going to talk about here that's coming out of the Kentucky Oaks as their last race in early May.
Yeah, Quiet Side, who beat the Simply Joking in the fantasy, also hasn't raced since the Kentucky Oaks. She got 2 pretty nice trips, though, in her 2 wins last year where she was able to just kind of sit close and fall into them. What do we do with Quiet Side?
I don't know. I'm wondering if they're hoping maybe this race propels her to the Labray, but she was a 2-turn horse for the most part. Maybe they'll want to try to get that grade 1. 6 for 84 in Kentucky over the last 6 months, though, for Johnny Ortiz.
Vodka with the twist rounds the field out, Scott. She doesn't win a whole lot. I think she actually is in a decent spot here. She faced some older horses last time out. The 2nd and 3rd place finishers were just a little bit better than her. She gets a cutback, or she's going to go a little bit farther. She can sit close. The outside draw concerns me a little bit.
Yeah, she at least isn't going to be a short price. I've had a good time beating her at short prices, but she'll be a good price with a good trip.
I mean, a lot of directions you could go in here, Scotty. Where'd you end up with your selection?
Yeah, I took a shot here with number 1, Delightful Claire, hoping that she gets loose on the lead at a big price.
1938 for Scott. I'm going to go Simply Joking 10-9, 12-8 for me in a really tricky Raven run. Don't go anywhere. We are going to head to the Perryville next. We're sticking at Keeneland, but we're going to go back to race number 6 and preview the Perryville. Before we get into that preview, we want to let you know about one of Daily Racing Form's new products, DRF Newbie. Scott, I'm sure you've experienced this before when you're at the track. I love to bring some of my friends with me, and they just open up the racing form sometimes, and there's so much information for them, they get a little bit overwhelmed. They can't really understand it. What DRF Newbie does is it puts everything into really easy to read and really easy to understand graphs and visual alerting for you. So it'll show you how you can compare early pace ratings and late pace ratings. You can compare jockey ratings and trainer ratings. I think it's a good starting point, Scott, for some of our friends and people who may not be as hardcore horse racing fans.
No, absolutely. Perfect audience. People that understand horse racing enough to bet it, but are looking for intricacies to help them figure out what I kind of refer to once in a while as hieroglyphics when you first open the form. Lots there to take in. You probably understand more than you think, but at the same point, very much a useful tool.
DRF Newbie will help you be that stepping stone to get you really to understand a lot of those numbers that you're looking at. Check it out, newbie.drf.com, and use your mobile device when you're checking it out so that everything is optimized fully for you. Let's get to our next race preview, Scott. It's the Grade 3 Perryville. And what I thought was really fun about handicapping this race, and also tricky, is that to me, some of the horses who could get the best setups on paper are horses who I don't really know if they're in their best form right now, or I don't really know what to do with. A horse like Barnes, just kind of at first glance, looks like could be better going 7 furlongs with some speed in here, but he's a really quirky horse and one that's kind of hard to trust at a short price. Let's meet the field for the Perryville here. And we start with Gaming. He's one of a couple of Bob Baffert runners in this field. And he kind of feels like he might be in here to be the speed of the Baffert horses to kind of help set up a late rally for Barnes. But Gaming in his own right has shown some talent, Scott. He was a Grade 1 winner at 2. He just hasn't really seemed like he stepped forward all that much. And coming off of his last 2 races, I don't really know how to assess him. He was in a field of 4 when he got the lead and had no pressure. And then he was in a field of 3 when he couldn't get the lead and he was almost eased in that race. What do we do with him here?
Man, first off, I'll say he's a much bigger price than he has ever been, probably.
Great point. Yeah.
He was 6 to 1 in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and ran second. He's probably going to be a bigger price than that. All that said, he feels like a kind of horse that has already peaked, that kind of peaked as a 2-year-old. There are not really any spots to run this horse, once you have 3 wins for a horse of this nature. So it feels to me like they've been trying to find the right spot, or just running him against his stablemates in some cases. I know he won the Affirmed, but that was a 4-horse field when he was loose on the lead. So to me, Gaming is a toss, but it's not telling you that much at 8 to 1.
Taylor's version has pretty big speed. He comes out of a race where he was fast from the outside very early. He opened up 2 lengths. That was a nice victory. His last 2 races sprinting on the dirt are very good wins where he was right on the front end. He's going to have to go farther. He's going to have to step up, but he's been pretty honest, and he earned a nice speed figure when he won that last race.
He could be the now horse. Now, that last race, he broke sharp and got kind of an easy win. And his win back on June 27th, it was a favorable racetrack for what he did. But he's run some good races. His only, the debut effort, Dale does not win a lot at first asking. He feels like the now horse to me, and one that I think will run a big race.
Barnes, the number 3, is a Grade 2 winner, but he's 0 for his last 4. Feels like 7 furlongs should be a perfect distance for him. He ran 3rd in the Jerkins 2 starts back, but here he is, Scott, at Parks in the Gallant Bob. And he's like 15 lengths out of it for some reason in this race. He had never been that far back. Maybe he didn't get over the surface all that well, but it was a little strange because he's a horse who was very good early in his career. He's always seemed like he's been a little bit of maybe a head case, or a horse who's not the easiest to train all the time. I mean, on paper, he's supposed to win that race. And on paper, there might be 5 horses in here who are better than every horse he faced in the Gallant Bob. But the race does set up for him with speed. I keep going back and forth with him. I didn't know what to do. What do you think about Barnes?
Yeah, he's a fade for me because of what his price is going to be. I love that there's actual reasons to make excuses for the fact. Since when does a Bob Baffert horse not show speed when chipping east?
That far back,
unheard of. This horse was the Derby favorite or second choice along with Patch Adams for a while early on. He just has not gotten better, and in fact, he's probably regressed. He ran a good race in the Jerkins, I understand, but he wasn't winning that race. I just don't trust him to win races at this point.
Completely agree. And I want a better price than you would be willing to get than you're going to get on him in a spot like this. We move to Owen Almighty. Scott, he ran in the Kentucky Derby. He actually ran pretty well when he finished 5th there. You could just see with him, he's not wanted to go farther than about a mile. In the Robert Hilton Memorial last time out, he was at Churchill. Maybe he didn't like he was at Charlestown, excuse me, and maybe he didn't like the bullring style racetrack over there. So you can perhaps make an excuse for him last time out. I just don't really know what trip is he going to get. Is he going to be off the pace and close? Because he hasn't really done that a whole lot in his career.
Yeah, I don't know. This is another horse that was really highly regarded as a 2-year-old, and now you're trying to bring him back off of a couple. The Derby was fine. He didn't run great in the Bluegrass. I think he ran huge at Tampa in the Tampa Derby and hasn't gotten back to that. He's got the upside to win this race, so it would be price dependent for me.
Scott, I know we have a replay to watch of Captain Cook's runner-up effort in the Jerkins. I don't really want to watch it, though, because I needed Captain Cook that day at 20-1, and he ran a great race. He was just second best that day. Patch Adams kind of moves up through the rail. He has speed. He's drawn well to sit off. I'm hoping he can sit off a little bit in here because I think with the outside draw, that's what he'll do. But there is a good amount of other speed in here. That would be my only concern with him. I just think he's the classiest horse in the field right now, and he's doing the best in the field. What do you think about Captain Cook?
Yeah, I had him that day too, as believable or unbelievable as that is. But yeah, I think with the blinkers off, he'll be able to relax just off it. Todd Pletcher had him last time, took it off. This horse sold for $410 last year at the Keeneland Horses of Racing Age sale. He's serious. I don't think he's very beatable in the spot.
I actually like Rolando as a horse. You start to dive into his races, Scott. He's really quick. He's honest. If you put a line through the grass race, everything else really makes sense. He beat a horse named Barbadian Runner who's come back and won 2 in a row. He won that Robert Hilton Memorial, and then he beat older horses in post time. I'm just worried about the 7 furlongs in a race where there's other speed. Is he going to be able to get the trip? But I like him as a horse. I'm picking him underneath.
Yeah, you made a good point with gaming. He would really hurt Rolando's chances if he goes aggressively. He could get caught wide, but could get a good trip, and 7 furlongs could be his distance.
As we move to selection, Scott, I think you and I both landed in the same direction here. We're both on Captain Cook, who could sit a pretty nice trip. I think we went almost similar with our top 4, 5, 2, 6, 3 for Scott, 5, 6, 2, 3 for me. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll head out west to Santa Anita. For our final segment, we're going to head out to Santa Anita. We're going to take a look at race number 9 on Saturday. This one is the Lure Stakes, Scott. And what's tricky about this race, it's for 3-year-olds and up, which have not won a sweepstakes at a mile or over in 2025. So what you're looking at are horses that aren't really in the best form at the stakes level. They have been beaten a few times or maybe been facing softer company. So they're just not a lot of win machines in this race. I mean, 5-2 morning line favorite, St. Anthony, is a horse who is 0 for 6 at Santa Anita, has never even hit the board in 6 races at Santa Anita. And while he is coming out of some difficult races, he was 125-1 last time out in that race when he finished 6th. I mean, he has been really big prices. My other counter would be some good riders have jumped aboard him recently. Tyler Gaffalione, Umberto Rispoli, and even Juan Hernandez comes back again here. But Scott, I mean, this isn't the type of horse that I would want to bet at 5-2 or 2-1.
No, it's almost hard when you first look at him to understand why he would be. But you made a great point. Great for novice to beginner horse players. Always read the conditions of the race because it looks like this would be a tougher race than 2 back, but it's not even remotely close. So that's why he fits well in this spot. I don't love him here, but he fits.
Mystic Spirit is the next one up. He's 0 for the last 7, and he was overmatched in Calbred stakes races. I will give him a nod, though, for the horse that he most recently lost to, Man of Rose. That horse came back and won the California Flag next time out with a really big speed figure, and he beat a nice horse named Lovesick Blues, who's going to be headed to the Breeders' Cup. What do we do with Mystic Spirit?
He's going to be a huge price. Expect him to try to show speed. You know, this barn claimed him for $20K out of a state bred race. Tried him on the dirt at Los Al. It didn't work. That's probably what they claimed him for. They're 0 for 35 at Santa Anita in turf races over the last 5 years with just one in the money finish. Tough to get to.
Watsonville is next up. This is a grade 2 winner, Scott. He just hasn't been the same since 2023. He's only raced 4 times since the start of 2024. So you just don't have a whole lot of form to go off. And while he's been in graded stakes and he's faced the stakes group last time out, I just would have loved to see him on the track a few more times. I mean, he fits with this group. If he showed up with one of his better efforts, he would be right there. But we're going back to a couple years ago for some of those efforts.
Yeah, I wonder if we've seen his best already. I guess the major positive I would take, turf riding at 2 turns, very important to rider. And he does get Freysu back, who I do think is a significant upgrade. Freysu was aboard his last win, and it was actually in a grade 2.
It's funny when you're handicapping races because, like, I looked at this field before I dived in and I thought, Endlessly, like, there's no way I'm going to be picking a horse like Endlessly. And then I end up picking Endlessly in here, Scott, kind of by default. You go through the rest of the field, and I know Endlessly is 0 for the last 6, but this is a multiple graded stakes winner who, even in running poorly recently, still has been running better than most of the other field. I think he's going to get a pretty good setup. I look back at the race. The wicker wasn't awful. He actually was down on the inside. And if you look, he was facing Deterministic, Integration, Far Bridge, King of Gosford, Gold Phoenix. Those horses are just better than what he's facing in here. I think with horses like Goliad, Sumter, and Nesso's Last Hurrah all to his outside, he probably gets a pretty good trip in here, Scott. So, I mean, if it's going to be him and St. Anthony at similar prices, or if he's going to be a little bit better of a price, I'm absolutely going to Endlessly.
Yeah, I like him too in this spot. Didn't expect to, but the blinkers going on for the 3rd straight time. Rispoli back aboard. Different ride, 2-back by Barrios, a very under-aggressive ride. I think he had more to give than it shows in the PPs that day.
Goliad is a multiple graded stakes winner. He's an 8-year-old now, and he's really tough when he can clear the field and get to the lead. That's what he wants to do. He's just a runoff type horse, but we now have 4 straight races, Scott, where he hasn't been top 5, and I get worried when horses are a little older and they start to string races like that together.
And it looked like they tried new tactics last time for some reason. They let Epic ride loose on the lead, but they didn't send aggressively from the inside draw. This horse needs the lead. I expect him to try for it, but I agree. I think he's a little long in the tooth.
Sumter takes the blinkers off. He's only 1 for his last 21, but that win was in this race last year when he kind of fell right into the victory. What do you do with Sumter here?
Yeah, I don't think he's the same horse, although he won this race last year. The blinkers going on last time. They're coming off. It feels like trainer Richard Mandela reaching for something.
Nesso's Last Hurrah rounds things out. He ran 5th in the Eddie D, going 6.5 furlongs, Scott. Didn't really run poorly that day. I think he just finished behind a couple horses that might have been a little better than him. He feels like stretching back out, he's going to be forwardly placed. I think he fits with this group. I am a little worried about the race shape, though, because Goliad is really quick. Sumter's pretty quick, too.
I think he's taking advantage of situations in his 2-turn races. I think he wants to go shorter, and I think he's going to run into, like you said, a tougher situation on the front end in this one.
With a lot of early speed in a small field, Scott and I are both going to end up on Endlessly, and hopefully Endlessly gets the trip, can maybe just be a little more forward than we've seen as of late. Thanks so much for hanging out with us again, folks. We'll see you next week on the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview.